The fairy tale, Jorinda and Joringel, collected by the Brothers Grimm in their renowned compilation of German folklore, stands as a timeless narrative that weaves together elements of enchantment, peril, and redemption. First published in 1812 as part of children's and household tales, this story draws from oral traditions passed down through generations in Europe, particularly in regions like Hesse where the Grimms gathered their material. It exemplifies the Grimm brothers' style, concise yet evocative, blending the mundane with the magical to explore profound human emotions. At its core, Jorinda and Joringel is a tale of unwavering love, profound devotion, and unshakable faith, qualities that enable ordinary individuals to triumph over supernatural adversity. In this expanded explanation, we'll delve into the story's plot, characters, themes, symbolism, and cultural significance, retelling it in detail while unpacking its layers to reach approximately 2,000 words. This isn't merely a retelling but an exploration that highlights how the narrative reflects universal truths about relationships, resilience, and the power of belief. To begin, let's set the stage with the story's origins and context. Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm were linguists and folklorists who aimed to preserve German cultural heritage amid the Napoleonic Wars and the rise of nationalism. Their tales often featured forests as liminal spaces, places of danger and transformation, mirroring the uncertainties of rural life in 19th-century Germany. Jorinda and Joringel fits into the Arne Thompson Uther tale type 405, known as The Animal Bride, where a loved one is transformed into an animal and must be rescued. Unlike more violent Grimm stories like Hansel and Gretel, this one emphasizes emotional depth over gore, focusing on the protagonist's inner strength. The title characters' names, Jorinda, a feminine form evoking youth, or earth, and Joringel, a diminutive suggesting innocence, underscore their youthful purity, setting up a contrast with the dark forces they encounter. The story opens in a vast, impenetrable forest, a classic Grimm motif symbolizing the unknown and the subconscious. Deep within this woodland stands an ancient castle, isolated and foreboding, home to a solitary old woman who is, in fact, a powerful witch. By day, she shape-shifts into a cat or a screech owl, creatures associated with mystery, predation, and the night. This duality highlights themes of deception and hidden dangers in everyday life. The witch possesses the ability to lure wild animals and birds to her lair, where she slaughters, cooks, and consumes them, a grim reminder of the predatory aspects of nature and human society. More chillingly, any person who ventures within 100 paces of her castle becomes frozen in place, unable to move until she releases them. This magical boundary represents invisible barriers in life, such as fear or societal constraints that paralyze us. The witch's most sinister power, however, targets innocent maidens. If a pure young woman enters her domain, the witch transforms her into a bird and imprisons her in a wicker cage within the castle. With 7,000 such cages filled with rare birds, the castle becomes a grotesque aviary of stolen lives. This number, 7,000, evokes biblical exaggeration, symbolizing completeness or infinity, implying the witch's reign of terror is vast and enduring. The transformation into birds is rich in symbolism. Birds represent freedom, the soul, and femininity in folklore, but here they are caged, signifying lost agency and suppressed desires. This setup establishes the antagonist as a force of isolation and control, perhaps allegorizing patriarchal or authoritarian structures that cage women's potential. Enter the protagonists. Jorinda, a maiden described as fairer than all others, embodying ideal beauty and innocence, and her betrothed, Joringel, a handsome youth full of promise. Their engagement period is portrayed as one of pure bliss, where their greatest joy is simply being together. This idyllic phase underscores the theme of love as a sanctuary amid life's uncertainties. One fateful day, seeking solitude to converse intimately, they wander into the forest, a decision that blends romance with recklessness. Joringel warns Jorinda to avoid the castle, hinting at local legends of its dangers, but their youthful optimism blinds them to the peril. As they stroll, the evening sun casts a golden glow through the trees, illuminating the dark green foliage. Turtle doves coo mournfully on birch branches, their song foreshadowing sorrow. The doves, symbols of love and fidelity in mythology, contrast with the impending tragedy, heightening the narrative's emotional tension. Jorinda and Joringel grow inexplicably sad, as if sensing their doom, a premonition that adds a layer of fatalism to the tale. Lost and disoriented, With the sun half set behind the mountains, they realize they've strayed too close to the castle. Joringel spots its crumbling walls through the bushes and is struck with terror, his fear paralyzing him even before the magic takes hold. In this moment of vulnerability, Jorinda begins to sing a melancholic song. My little bird, with the necklace red, sings sorrow, sorrow, sorrow. He sings that the dove must soon be dead, sings sorrow, soar, jug, jug, jug. This ballad, interrupted mid-verse, serves as a poignant motif. The necklace red might allude to a ringdove's markings or symbolize a wedding band, tying into their betrothal. The song's repetition of sorrow amplifies the atmosphere of impending loss, while the shift to jug, 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 the nightingale's call, marks the transformation. Suddenly, Jorinda morphs into a nightingale, her human voice replaced by avian melody. A screech owl, the witch in disguise, circles her thrice, hooting, to woo, a sound evoking omen and death in folklore. Joringel, now ensnared by the castle's spell, stands petrified like a statue, unable to weep, speak, or move. This immobility mirrors emotional paralysis in the face of trauma, a relatable human experience. As the sun sets, plunging the scene into darkness, the owl transforms back into the witch, a grotesque figure with yellow skin, lean frame, large red eyes, and a hooked nose touching her chin. Muttering incantations, she seizes the nightingale Jorinda and carries her away. Joringel's helplessness here tests his devotion. Though immobilized, his love remains intact, fueling his future resolve. Returning later, the witch addresses an unseen entity, greet thee, Zachiel. If the moon shines on the cage, Zachiel, let him loose at once. Zachiel, possibly a reference to a spirit or demon derived from Hebrew, Zadkiel, an angel of mercy, suggests the witch's magic involves pacts with otherworldly forces. Freed from the spell, Joringel kneels and pleads for Jorinda's return, but the witch refuses, declaring he will never see her again. His cries and lamentations fall on deaf ears as she vanishes. This rejection amplifies the theme of unfaltering faith. Joringel's despair could lead to surrender, but instead, it ignites his quest. Devastated, Joringel flees the forest and settles in a distant village, taking up shepherding, a humble, solitary occupation that allows for introspection. For a long time, he tends sheep, often circling the castle from afar, drawn by love yet repelled by fear. This period of exile represents a trial of patience and endurance, common in heroes' journeys. One night, a dream visits him. He discovers a blood-red flower with a pearl-like dewdrop at its center. Plucking it, he enters the castle untouched by enchantment, freeing everything he touches, including Jorinda. Dreams in fairy tales often serve as divine guidance or subconscious wisdom, reinforcing faith as a source of solutions. Inspired, Joringel awakens with renewed purpose and searches hill and dale for 9 days, a number symbolizing completion in numerology, as in 9 months of gestation or Norse mythology's 9 worlds. On the 9th morning, he finds the flower, blood red, evoking passion, sacrifice, and life force, with a dewdrop as large as a pearl, symbolizing purity and tears. This magical bloom, akin to the flower of life in other myths, represents hope and redemption, its discovery a testament to perseverance. Armed with the flower, Joringel journeys back, undeterred within 100 paces of the castle. Touching the door, it swings open, and he enters the courtyard, his joy palpable. Following the birdsong, he locates the chamber with 7,000 cages. The witch, feeding her captives, spots him and erupts in fury, spewing venomous words and literal poison. Yet, she cannot approach within 2 paces. The flower's power creates a protective aura, illustrating how faith and love can repel evil. Ignoring her, Joringel scans the nightingales, despairing at identifying Jorinda among hundreds. Then, he notices the witch stealthily removing one cage toward the exit. Swiftly, he pursues, touching the cage and witch with the flower. Instantly, the spell breaks. The witch loses her powers, and Jorinda reappears in human form, embracing him, as beautiful as ever. In a cascade of liberation, Joringel frees all the other birds, restoring countless maidens. The story concludes with the lovers' reunion, implying a happily ever after, though the Grimms leave it understated to emphasize emotional resolution over material wealth. Now, let's unpack the themes that make this a profound story of love, devotion, and unfaltering faith. Love here is not mere romance but a transformative force. Jorinda and Joringel's bond withstands separation and enchantment, evolving from youthful affection to a deeper commitment. Their initial walk signifies intimacy's risks, venturing into the unknown together, while Joringel's quest embodies sacrificial love, akin to Orpheus retrieving Eurydice. Devotion shines through Joringel's actions, his shepherding exile as a vigil of loyalty, and his dream-inspired search an act of obedience to inner calling. This devotion isn't blind but active, requiring effort and risk. The witch, as an antagonist, represents obstacles to love, jealousy, age, or societal barriers, her caging of maidens perhaps allegorizing how envy imprisons beauty. Unfaltering faith is the narrative's cornerstone. Joringel's belief in reunion, fueled by the dream, mirrors religious faith, trusting in unseen powers for deliverance. The flower, discovered through persistent seeking, symbolizes grace or divine intervention, rewarding those who persevere. In a broader sense, the tale encourages faith in goodness amid darkness, a message resonant in the Grimm's era of political upheaval. Symbolism abounds. The forest is life's trials, the castle is entrapment, birds as souls yearning for freedom. The witch's transformations critique superficial judgments, while the red flower evokes Christian motifs like the blood of Christ or pagan fertility symbols. The number 7,000 cages and 9 days of search add mystical depth, drawing from numerological traditions. Culturally, Jorinda and Joringel has inspired adaptations, from operas by Carl Maria von Weber to modern retellings in children's books. It compares to tales like Beauty and the Beast, Love Breaking Curses, or The Frog Prince. Transformation and redemption. It's moral. True love demands courage, patience, and belief, conquering even the most formidable evils. In conclusion, Jorinda and Joringel transcends its brevity to offer rich insights into human resilience. Through its enchanted world, it reminds us that love, when coupled with devotion and faith, can shatter chains, literal and metaphorical. This enduring message explains its appeal across centuries, inviting readers to reflect on their own journeys of the heart.